Imagine this. You're on the cusp of a truly significant life event. Maybe buying your very first home, finally applying for financial aid for college, or even navigating a complex tax audit that feels like a maze.
Yeah.
And then, suddenly, you hit a frustrating roadblock. You need official, irrefutable proof of your income, your tax filings,
Yeah.
something only the IRS can provide directly.
Right.
But how on earth do you get it quickly and, without a massive headache?
Uh-huh.
Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into exactly that.
Let's do it.
We're going to unpack the often misunderstood world of IRS tax transcripts. We're focusing on what they are, why you might desperately need them, and crucially, how to get your hands on them, especially through a surprisingly versatile little document, Form 4506 TEZ.
Yeah, that little form. So our mission in this deep dive really is to guide you through the intricacies of obtaining your tax records.
Okay.
We want to transform what might seem like this daunting bureaucratic process into a clear, actionable pathway.
Make it less scary.
Exactly. We'll show you not just the how, but also the critical why behind each step.
Right.
So you're well-equipped and, hopefully, confident in managing your essential financial documentation.
Yeah.
Understanding tax transcripts, more than just a copy.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning then. Why would anyone even need an IRS tax transcript in the first place? I mean, I keep all my tax returns, in a meticulously organized folder.
Right, most people do. Or try to.
Isn't having my own copy of my tax return, the one I filed, isn't that enough for most situations?
That's a fantastic question, and honestly, it speaks to a very common misconception.
Ah.
While having your personal copy, your filed tax return, is absolutely essential for your own records and reference.
Sure.
There are indeed very specific real-world scenarios where an IRS tax transcript isn't just beneficial, it's often legally required.
Required, okay.
Yeah. The fundamental reason, it boils down to trust and authenticity.
Trust. Exactly.
And an IRS transcript comes directly from the source, the IRS itself.
Right.
That makes it an official, unalterable record. It carries a weight a photocopy simply cannot.
Right, like a certified copy versus just a Xerox.
Precisely. Think of it like a notarized document versus a regular copy. One is certified, the other isn't, really.
Got it.
So let's consider some practical scenarios. Imagine you're applying for a mortgage.
Okay, the big one.
Yeah. Lenders are notoriously cautious, and for good reason, right?
Absolutely.
They need to verify that the income you've stated on your loan application truly matches what you've declared to the IRS.
They need proof.
They want that official, unadulterated confirmation directly from the government's records. It helps mitigate fraud and ensures the absolute accuracy of your reported income and filing history.
Makes sense.
So they'll often explicitly state they need an IRS transcript, not just a photocopy of your return,
Oh, good.
because it's that direct seal of approval from the source.
Right.
The same often goes for student loans or even larger business loans. Lenders universally prefer or sometimes require these direct transcripts.
So it's their way of de-risking the loan.
Exactly. It's their way of de-risking the lending process.
Oh, okay. What else?
Well, beyond loans, think about students applying for federal or state financial aid. Through the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA. They'll often find that IRS tax transcripts are mandated for income verification.
Mandated? Wow.
Yeah, it ensures that aid is allocated fairly and accurately based on verified financial need, not just self-reported figures, which, could potentially contain errors or omissions.
That keeps everyone honest.
Right. You might also need a transcript for general verification of income or filing status.
Like for what?
This can pop up for various government programs you might apply for, certain benefit applications, or even specific employment verifications where an employer needs official proof of your income history.
Okay.
It's all about providing a third party with an irrefutable record directly from the IRS.
Gotcha.
And, of course, there are situations directly with the tax agency itself.
Oh, right. Audits.
Exactly. If you find yourself undergoing a tax audit or facing compliance inquiries, the IRS might request specific transcripts to cross-reference with your personal records or to provide them with the detailed information they need to complete their review efficiently. It just streamlines the audit process.
So everyone's looking at the same official numbers.
Precisely. Ensuring both parties are looking at the exact same data from the IRS's system.
Okay. Any other reasons?
Yeah, one more big one. Purely personal record keeping.
Oh.
If your original tax returns are ever lost, damaged, maybe destroyed in a fire or flood.
Oh, nightmare scenario.
Right. Transcripts serve as an invaluable official backup. They can quickly help you reconstruct your financial history without having to dig through old files that might not even exist anymore.
So they're like the official safety net for your tax history.
That's a great way to put it. They are the official safety net.
So that makes a lot of sense. The why is really all about that official verification. But now I'm curious, what exactly is a tax transcript then? How is it different from the actual tax return I filed? Like, when I get one, what am I actually going to see on it?
Yeah, that's a crucial distinction, and it's really important to clarify because a lot of people assume it's just, a printed copy of their 1040.
Right.
When we talk about a tax return transcript, it's not simply a carbon copy or a duplicate of the Form 1040 you submitted.
Okay.
Instead, it's more like a summary. It shows the most important data points from your original Form 1040 series tax return precisely as it was filed with the IRS.
So the key lines.
Exactly. What you'll see on it are most of the line items from that original return. This includes critical figures like your adjusted gross income or AGI.
AGI, yeah, that comes up a lot.
It really does. It's a foundational number for so many financial calculations and applications.
Right.
It will also show information from any associated forms and schedules that were part of your original filing.
Like a Schedule C for business income.
Yep, or a Schedule A for itemized deductions. It's essentially a streamlined, official snapshot of the core financial information you initially provided to the IRS.
Okay, a snapshot. But what's not on it?
Right. This is critically important. The tax return transcript does not show any payments you made. It doesn't show any penalty assessments that might have been levied or any adjustments that were made to your return after it was originally filed.
So if I paid later, or the IRS changed something.
Exactly. If you filed your return and then later realized you owed more and made an additional payment, or if the IRS audited you and made an adjustment, those subsequent actions won't be reflected on this specific transcript.
Huh. So it's really just the as-filed picture.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It truly is a pristine record of your original submission. Its primary purpose, then, is to serve as that official snapshot of the information as it was initially submitted.
Okay.
So while your personal copy of a filed return is indeed valuable for your own reference, an IRS transcript is the government's certified representation of that data. You'll also notice, for privacy, certain sensitive numbers, like your full Social Security number, they'll be partially hidden or masked on the transcript they send to you.
Ah, okay, for security.
Right. It's the IRS saying, this is what we have on file for your original submission in a privacy-protected format, to navigating the transcript landscape beyond the basic return.
Okay, so it's a snapshot of your original filing with some privacy masking.
Yeah.
That's really helpful to understand.
Good.
But this is where it gets even more interesting, right? Because it's not just one type of transcript, is it?
Not at all.
The IRS actually offers several different versions, each serving a distinct purpose. I think that surprises a lot of people.
It does.
It's not just about that basic return transcript we just talked about. What other kinds are out there, and why would someone need, say, one of those instead?
You've hit on a key point. The IRS provides a whole spectrum of transcripts, really. Each one is tailored to specific needs. And understanding these differences is paramount to getting exactly what you require without, unnecessary back and forth.
Saves time and hassle.
It truly does. It saves you time and potential headaches down the line if you can identify the correct document right from the outset.
All right, let's break them down.
Okay, so first we have the tax account transcript.
Tax account transcript, different from the return transcript.
Very different focus, yes. While the tax return transcript shows your original filing data, the tax account transcript gives you a broader view of your account activity for that year.
Activity, like what?
So this document displays basic data like the type of return you filed, your marital status, your AGI, taxable income. But crucially, unlike the tax return transcript, it also includes all payment types you've made for that tax year, any penalties assessed, and any adjustments made by either you or the IRS after the original return was filed.
So this one does show the changes.
Exactly. This transcript is incredibly useful if you need to understand your complete payment history, maybe reconcile any balances due, or just get a full picture of the financial transactions on your tax account for a given year.
So it's less about the original filing, more about the financial ledger.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's the financial ledger of your interactions with the IRS for that year.
Okay, got it. What's next?
Moving on, we come to the record of account transcript.
Record of account. Sounds comprehensive.
It is. This one is often considered the most comprehensive transcript available.
How so?
Well, it's essentially a combination of the tax return transcript and the tax account transcript into one single document.
Oh, okay. Best of both worlds.
Pretty much. It includes both the original return information, all the line items you submitted, and it integrates that with all subsequent changes, payments, penalty assessments, any other activity on your tax account.
Wow. So when would you need that much detail?
If you need the fullest possible picture of your tax account for a particular year, maybe for a very detailed financial analysis, some complex legal situations, or really comprehensive financial planning,
Okay.
this is the document you'll likely need. It offers that complete, holistic view, leaving no stone unturned, really.
All right. Tax return, tax account, record of account. What else?
Next up is the wage and income transcript.
Wage and income. Sounds like W-2s and stuff.
Exactly. This transcript is a lifesaver for many people. It displays data from all the various information returns the IRS receives that are tied to your Social Security number.
Like what kind of returns?
So essential documents like your forms W-2 reporting wages from employers,
Yep.
various forms 1099 covering different types of income like independent contractor payments, dividends, interest, form 1098 for mortgage interest or tuition payments,
Right.
and even form 5498 for IRA contributions.
So basically everything someone else reported paying you.
Precisely. This document is incredibly useful if you've ever lost your W-2s or 1099s.
Oh yeah, that happens.
Right. It allows you to reconstruct your income for past years, which is vital maybe for filing amended returns, applying for loans, or for third parties who need to verify your employment and income from diverse sources.
So it's proof of income from all sources.
Yeah.
Based on what the IRS was told.
Exactly. It's a complete snapshot of what others reported paying to you.
Okay, very useful. Is that all of them?
One more important one, the verification of non-filing letter.
Verification of non-filing. So proof you didn't file?
Correct. This isn't a transcript in the sense of showing tax data, but it's an official IRS document.
Okay.
It simply provides official proof that the IRS has no record of a filed Form 1040 series tax return for the specific year you've requested.
When would you need that? Seems odd.
It's particularly relevant for certain financial aid applications, especially for students who didn't file a tax return because their income was below the filing threshold.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It's also required sometimes for government benefits or in other instances where official confirmation of non-filing is necessary.
Got it. So knowing which one to ask for is pretty key.
Absolutely paramount. By knowing precisely what information each transcript provides, you can request exactly what you need from the IRS.
Right.
Which saves you considerable time and prevents potential rejections or, requests for additional information from the parties requiring these documents.
Yeah, nobody wants that back and forth.
No. This precision in your request truly makes the process smoother. 3. Your pathways to official records. How to get your transcripts.
Okay, so now that we understand what these different documents are and why they're so important, the next logical step is how to actually get them. And thankfully, the IRS has definitely embraced technology, right? Offering some incredibly fast pathways beyond just mailing forms.
Oh, absolutely.
What are our quickest options?
Yeah, the IRS has made significant strides in providing modern, expedited ways to request your tax transcripts. These options can often get you the information you need much, much faster than the traditional mail system.
Good. What's the main one?
The primary digital fast lane is through the irs.gov website. Specifically, they have a tool called Get Your Tax Record, Get Transcript.
Okay, get transcript online?
Yep. This online service is designed for both speed and convenience. Its biggest benefit is often instant access.
Instant? Whoa.
Often, yes. It allows you to view, print, or download various transcript types right from your computer.
Which types? All of them?
Most of the ones we discussed. Tax return, tax account, record of account, wage and income, and the verification of non-filing letter.
Okay, pretty comprehensive.
Very. And it's available 24/7, which makes it incredibly flexible.
It sounds great. Is there a catch?
Well, not really a catch, but an important step. To use this service, you'll typically need to register and undergo a pretty robust identity verification process.
The security part.
Exactly. It's a crucial security step to ensure your sensitive tax information isn't accessed by unauthorized individuals.
Makes sense. What does that involve?
It usually involves answering questions based on your financial history, like from credit reports or using specific information from past tax returns. Sometimes they use third-party verification services, too.
Okay. So once you're registered, it's smooth sailing.
Generally, yes. Once registered, it's a remarkably efficient system. But if for some reason your online identity verification fails or you hit a snag,
Yeah.
don't panic. Sometimes it's something simple, like checking your credit report to make sure your address history matches what the IRS expects, or you might just need to try again later.
And if you still can't get verified online.
If there are persistent issues, the phone option often becomes your next best bet.
Okay, tell me about the phone option.
Sure. For those who might prefer a more direct human interaction or maybe have specialized questions the online tool can address,
Uh-huh.
there's also the option of a phone request. You can call a dedicated toll-free number, 1-800-908-9946, for specialized assistance.
So you talk to a real person.
Yes. This is a good alternative if you're not comfortable with online identity verification, if you're having trouble with the website, or if your situation is maybe a bit complex and requires speaking directly to an IRS representative.
And they can help you get the transcript.
Yeah, they can guide you through the process, help clarify any issues, and initiate the request for you. The transcript would then typically be mailed to your address of record.
Okay, so online and phone are the fast lanes.
Generally, yes. These modern methods offer a clear benefit. They are usually much faster than requesting transcripts by mail.
Right.
While the online access is often instant for viewing or downloading, the phone service can also expedite the delivery compared to physical mail.
Are there any limitations to these?
Well, as we mentioned, the online access might have limitations for certain types of requests or for individuals who, for various reasons, just cannot successfully verify their identity through the online process.
Right.
But overall, they're great options.
Okay, so online or by phone are generally the fastest. But sometimes, for whatever reason, you still need to go the paper route.
Yep, still happened.
Maybe a lender specifically asked for it mailed, or you just prefer traditional mail. And that's where Form 4-6TEZ comes in, right?
Off for the one.
It's a short form, so it should be relatively simple. But I hear there are some important distinctions to keep in mind.
That's absolutely right. Despite the convenience of digital options, the paper path is still a vital avenue.
Yeah.
Especially if a third party explicitly requires a physical copy mailed to you, or if you just prefer traditional correspondence. And for individual taxpayers, Form 4506-TEZ is indeed designed to be a streamlined option.
Okay, so what's its specific purpose?
Form 4506-TEZ is specifically titled Short Form Request for Individual Tax Return Transcript. Its specific purpose is quite narrow.
How narrow?
It's for individuals to request a tax return transcript.
Just that one type?
Just the tax return transcript, yes. And only for the current tax year and the prior 3 years.
Okay, so recent returns, original filing data.
Exactly. This form is focused solely on providing most lines of your original tax return as it was filed.
Got it. Are there people who can't use this short form?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a crucial limitation. It absolutely cannot be used by taxpayers who file their Form 1040 based on a tax year that begins in one calendar year and ends in the following year.
What's that called again?
That's known as a fiscal tax year.
Fiscal year filers. Like some businesses.
Right. Typically, certain businesses or trusts operate on a fiscal year. These individuals or entities must instead use the longer, more comprehensive form 4506T.
Okay, so 4506-TEZ is strictly for standard calendar year individual filers.
Correct.
But it's still relevant today, even with online options.
Oh, definitely still relevant. As we discussed, a physical mailed transcript might be required by a specific lender who hasn't adopted the electronic IVE system.
IVEs, we'll get to that later.
Yep. Or some individuals just prefer the security and familiarity of traditional mail or fax. For the most common individual requests for basic tax return transcripts, this form truly simplifies the process.
Okay. And you mentioned Form 4506-T. That's the big brother form.
Exactly. Just to quickly clarify the distinction, Form 4506T is the broader, more versatile form.
What can it do?
It's used for requesting all types of transcripts, return, account, W-2, 1099, non-filing, and record of account.
So the whole menu.
The whole menu. And it's the form that businesses or those fiscal year filers must use.
Got it.
So while 4506T is the one that does it all, 4506TEZ serves that specific, common niche for individuals needing just their original return data for recent years. 4. Demystifying Form 4506TEZ, a line-by-line blueprint.
Okay, let's roll up our sleeves and dive into the form itself, Form 4506-TEZ.
Let's do it.
Even though it's a short form, I know from experience that there are some crucial details that, if you get them wrong, can cause frustrating delays.
Oh, absolutely. Precision is paramount with IRS forms.
So what are the absolute essentials we need to nail on those first few lines for our identity and address?
You're absolutely right. Form 4506-TEZ, despite its brevity, is no exception to needing precision. Let's walk through the initial identification and address fields, because getting these absolutely correct is foundational for your request to be processed smoothly.
Okay, line 1.
We start with line 1A and 1B. These ask for the primary taxpayer's information.
Right.
Line 1A requires the name shown on tax return. If you filed a joint return, you should enter the name shown first on that original return.
Name shown first. Got it.
Then, on line 1B, you'll enter the first Social Security number or individual taxpayer identification number on tax return. That's your SSN or ITI.
Pretty standard.
Yeah, but here's the specific instruction that can sometimes trip people up.
Yeah.
If your request relates to a business return, let's say you're a sole proprietor with a Schedule C on your 1040,
Yeah.
you would still use your Social Security number on line 1B. You only enter an employer identification number, EIN, if the business itself is the primary filer and has its own EIN distinct from your SSN.
Ah, okay. So for most individuals, even with a side business, it's the SSN here.
Correct.
Okay. Line 2.
Moving to line 2A and 2B, these are just for spouse information if you filed a joint return.
Simple enough.
Line 2A asks for the if a joint return, enter spouse's name shown on tax return. And line 2B requires the second Social Security number or individual taxpayer identification number if joint tax return. Just make sure these match your filed return precisely.
Got it. What about address? Line 3.
Line 3 is for your current name, address, including apt, room, or suite, city, state, and ZIP code.
Current address. This is where they'll mail it.
Yes, exactly. This is where the IRS will mail your transcript, so accuracy is absolutely paramount. If you use a P.O. box for your mailing address, make sure to include it here.
Okay. And line 4, previous address.
Yep. Importantly, we have line 4, which asks for your previous address shown on the last return filed if different from line 3.
Why is that one so important?
This line is crucial for the IRS to accurately locate your past records, especially if you've moved since the tax year you're requesting the transcript for.
Makes sense.
And this actually raises an important point.
Yeah.
If the address on lines 3 and 4 are different and you haven't already updated the IRS, the IRS actually advises you to file Form 8822, change of address, separately.
Oh, okay. So update your address officially first.
It's a good idea. This proactive step can prevent significant issues with future IRS communications, like notices about your tax account or even your tax refund.
That's a really key, actionable insight. File Form 8822 if you've moved.
Definitely. It can save you a lot of hassle down the line.
Okay.
Yep.
Makes sense. It's all about helping the IRS find you and your records.
Exactly.
And then there's this intriguing customer file number field on line 5. It's optional.
Right.
But it has some very specific rules, and I've heard people get tripped up by this one quite often. What's the deal with it?
You're right. Line 5, the customer file number, is optional, but it comes with a very specific and often misunderstood instruction.
Okay.
Its purpose is to allow you to enter up to 10 numeric characters. Just numbers.
10 numbers. Why would you do that?
This number will then print directly on the transcript itself when the IRS sends it.
Oh, okay.
This can be quite useful for internal tracking, especially if a third party, like a lender or a financial institution, is assisting you with requesting the transcript.
How so?
They might want a unique identifier to easily match the returned transcript to your specific application in their system, like a loan number or application ID.
Ah, I see. So the lender might ask you to put their reference number there.
Potentially, yes. But here's the critical caution.
Oh.
The IRS explicitly states, and I'm quoting here, if you use an SSN, name or combination of both, we will not input the information and the customer file number will not be included.
Wow. So absolutely no personal info there.
Absolutely not. No Social Security number, no part of your name, no combination. It must consist only of generic numeric characters.
That's a really easy mistake to make.
It is. It's a common mistake that can lead to confusion or just nullify the intended purpose of the field for the third party because the IRS will simply ignore the input if it contains prohibited characters.
So stick to numbers only, keep it generic, or just leave it blank if you don't need it.
Exactly. Leave it blank unless a third party specifically gives you a numeric code to put there.
Got it. Okay, what about line 6, the actual request?
Right. Finally, for the request itself, on line 6, you simply enter the years of the return transcript you are requesting.
Just the year, like 2022.
Yep. For example, you'd write 2022 or maybe 2021, 2020. Remember, this form allows you to request the current year and the prior 3 years.
Okay. And how long does it take once they get it?
Most requests, once received by the IRS, will be processed and mailed within about 10 business days.
10 business days. Good to know.
And what's interesting here is that the form anticipates a common concern.
Which is?
What if the IRS can't find my return?
Yeah. What happens then?
The form clearly states that if the IRS is unable to locate a return that matches your identity information, or if their records show it wasn't filed for the year you requested, they will notify you. They'll send a notice saying they were unable to locate a return or that a return was not filed, whichever is applicable.
Oh, that's good. So you're not just left wondering.
Exactly. It removes the uncertainty of wondering if your request just disappeared into the ether. It provides clear communication if there's an issue with their records. So you won't be left hanging. V, the fine print and safeguards, protecting your information.
Okay, so we've covered the core information to provide. We know what to put on the boxes.
Yep.
But this form isn't just about filling in blanks, right? Your signature is incredibly important.
Absolutely critical.
And there are a few make-or-break details you absolutely have to get right. It's not just a formality. It's a legal attestation that, if missed, can send your whole request right into the shredder, basically.
That's not an exaggeration.
What do we need to know about that signature block? It looks simple, but...
You've hit on one of the most critical aspects of this form, honestly. The signature section is precisely where many requests can go awry if not handled with absolute precision.
Okay, break it down for us.
Let's break down the absolute requirements for signing Form 4506 TEZ.
First, who signs?
Okay, first, regarding who must sign. The form must be signed and dated by the taxpayer listed on line 1A.
Right, the primary filer.
Yes. Or if it's a joint return, either spouse listed on line 1A or 2A has the authority to sign the form and request the transcript.
Oh, just one signature needed for a joint return.
Correct. You don't need both signatures if it was a joint return, which does simplify things considerably.
That's good. Okay, what else?
Second, pay very close attention to the validity period. This is a frequent pitfall.
Validity period?
Yes. The IRS must receive your completed Form 4506 TEZ within 120 days of the date you signed it.
120 days, that's about 4 months.
Right. But if the IRS receives your form after this 120-day window, it will be automatically rejected, no questions asked.
Wow. So don't sign it and let it sit around.
Exactly. Don't sign the form too far in advance of mailing or faxing it. Imagine signing it, then getting busy, forgetting to send it for a few months. That lapse means you'll have to start all over again. Print a new one, sign it, date it again.
Okay, 120-day rule.
Yeah.
Got it. What else is crucial down there?
This raises an extremely important point, maybe the most important detail in this section.
Okay.
There is a small box located right in the signature area.
A checkbox.
A checkbox, yes. This box explicitly states that you must check it to acknowledge that you have the authority to sign and request the information.
Must check it. It's not optional.
Absolutely not optional. And it's an incredibly easy detail to overlook.
Hey.
The form explicitly states right there, you must check the box in the signature area to acknowledge you have the authority to sign and request the information. The form will not be processed and returned to you if the box is unchecked.
Automatic rejection for missing a tiny checkbox?
Automatic rejection. It's a non-negotiable requirement that, if missed, leads straight back to square one. It's one of those tiny boxes with huge consequences.
Okay, check the authority box. Burn that into memory. Anything else about the signature itself?
Yes, regarding signature consistency, you should sign the form exactly as your name appeared on the original tax return for the year you're requesting.
Exactly the same.
As close as possible. If your name has changed since that time, for example, due to marriage or divorce, you should sign your current name as well, usually just below your signature from the original return.
So both names if it changed.
It helps the IRS verify your identity accurately, linking your past self to your current self for their records. It avoids confusion.
Okay.
And as a final check, the form itself contains a caution note right before the signature line.
What's the caution?
It says, do not sign this form unless all applicable lines have been completed.
Basically, fill everything out first, then sign.
Right. It just reiterates the importance of completing every relevant field to avoid rejection. The IRS is very particular about complete and accurate forms so they can process them efficiently.
Okay, signature. One spouse is fine. Watch the 120 days. Check the box, sign consistently, and fill it all out first. Got it.
perfect summary.
Now, beyond the form itself, I know the IRS has really tightened up its security, especially around sensitive tax data.
They have, significantly.
What should listeners know about how their transcripts are now handled, particularly concerning third parties like lenders or institutions? It sounds like there was a significant shift here recently.
You're right. This is a really significant development that impacts how many institutions now operate when requesting your tax information. There's a crucial what's new development regarding transcript mailing that went into effect a few years ago, back in July 2019.
Okay, what changed?
Effective July 2019, the IRS announced a major policy change. They would stop all third-party mailings of requested transcripts.
Stop mailing to third parties. So they won't send my transcript directly to my mortgage lender anymore.
Correct. If you, the taxpayer, are requesting your transcript using Form 4506 TEZ or 4506T, the IRS will no longer mail it directly to a third party like your mortgage lender, your college's financial aid office, or even your tax preparer.
So where do they send it then?
Under this new policy, after July 2019, all masked tax transcripts will only be mailed directly to the taxpayer's address of record.
My address on file with the IRS.
Exactly. The address the IRS has on file for you. And again, to reiterate what masked means,
Yeah.
it's that security feature where parts of your sensitive information, like your full social security number, are hidden, but enough information remains to identify the document's purpose.
Okay, so it comes to me, the taxpayer, directly. What does that mean for the lender who needs it?
Right. That's the key implication for third parties. If a third party like that lender is unable or unwilling to accept a tax transcript that has been mailed directly to you, they now have essentially two options if they want direct verification from the IRS.
What are the options?
They must either contract with an existing IVES participant, stands for Income Verification Express Service,
Okay.
or they must become an IVES participant themselves.
So IVS is like a secure electronic channel.
Exactly. The IVS program is a secure, authorized channel designed specifically for entities like lenders, financial aid offices, etc., that require direct, verified income information from the IRS on behalf of taxpayers. It ensures robust data protection and compliance.
So this shift was a big deal for those institutions.
Oh, huge. It required them to adapt their processes, maybe invest in secure digital pipelines like IVES to continue verifying income efficiently and securely.
Why did the IRS make this change?
The why behind this change is fundamentally about enhancing taxpayer privacy and data protection. Right. It's part of the IRS's ongoing efforts to safeguard sensitive taxpayer data against potential fraud and misuse. By ensuring transcripts are mailed only to the taxpayer's address of record, it adds an extra layer of security and control for you over your own financial information.
Puts the power back in the taxpayer's hands, sort of.
That's a good way to look at it. It gives you the final say on who ultimately receives that physical document after it arrives at your house.
Okay. And what about that legal notice on the form? Privacy Act and all that.
Right. On the form itself, you'll also notice a Privacy Act and Paperwork Reduction Act notice. It looks like a boilerplate.
Yeah, I always skip that stuff.
Well, it's worth a quick glance. It basically outlines the gist of how your information is handled. The IRS asks for this info, your name, SSN, address, to establish your right to access requested tax information under the Internal Revenue Code.
So legal basis.
Yeah, specifically citing sections 6103 and 6109, which are the parts of the tax code designed to protect taxpayer confidentiality. The key takeaway here is that the IRS collects this data to verify your identity and protect your sensitive information as required by law.
And if you don't provide it?
If you don't provide the required information accurately, your request simply won't be processed. And of course, providing false or fraudulent information can lead to penalties.
Right.
It also briefly mentions that while your tax information is generally confidential, there are specific limited legal circumstances where it may be disclosed, like for law enforcement purposes, or with state governments for tax administration, or sometimes under tax treaties.
Standard stuff.
Pretty standard legal disclosure. It's for transparency, not really to cause alarm regarding your routine request for your own transcript. 6, getting it there, where to send your form.
Okay, so you filled it out perfectly. You remembered to check that crucial box.
You?
And you've signed it within the 120-day window. The hard part's done.
Almost.
Now, where do you actually send it? This seems important. It's not one size fits all, is it?
Definitely not.
You can't just mail it to any old IRS address. And I bet that's a mistake people sometimes make.
You're absolutely right. The final step of submitting your form requires specific attention to detail. Sending it to the wrong place will certainly lead to delays and frustration.
So what's the rule?
The key principle here is that the mailing or faxing address for Form 4506-TEZ depends on the state you lived in when the return was filed.
Not where I live now, but where I lived then.
Exactly. Where you lived when you filed the specific tax return you're requesting the transcript for.
Boy, is that.
It's critical for the IRS to route your request to the correct processing center where your records for that year are likely kept.
Okay, makes sense. How do I find the right address?
The IRS divides these filing locations into 3 main regions. You'll find the exact address that applies to your filing state directly on page 2 of the Form 4506-TEZ instructions.
So check the instructions.
Always check the instructions or the IRS website for the most current addresses they can change.
Could you give us a couple of examples?
Sure. For instance, if you filed your individual return and lived in, say, Florida or Texas, you would send your form to the processing center in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, Austin for Florida.
Right. But if you lived in New York or Illinois when you filed, your form would go to Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City for New York.
Yep. And for those who filed from California or Washington State,
West Coast.
your destination is Ogden, Utah.
Ogden for California.
So always double-check the instructions for your specific filing state to ensure your form gets to the right place. This small detail can save you weeks of waiting.
Definitely worth taking a minute to look that up.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've filled it out. We know where to send it. What are the typical time frames we should expect for this entire process from our end, doing the work, to actually receiving the transcript in the mail?
Yeah, that's good to know for planning. The IRS actually provides estimated average timeframes for the taxpayer's effort on the form itself.
Oh, yeah? What do they figure?
They estimate that learning about the law or the form takes about 9 minutes.
Okay.
Preparing the form itself, gathering your info, filling it out, averages around 18 minutes.
Seems reasonable.
And finally, copying, assembling, and sending the form to the IRS, whether by mail or fax, is estimated at 20 minutes.
So add that up. 9 plus 18 plus 20, that's 47 minutes.
Yeah, roughly.
Roughly 47 minutes of effort on your part to get that request in the mail or faxed.
Okay, less than an hour of work.
Right. And then you add the IRS processing time, which, as we mentioned, is typically about 10 business days for them to process it and get it in the mail back to you.
So about an hour of your time, then wait maybe 2 weeks for it to arrive.
That's a good rule of thumb. Knowing these benchmarks can really help you plan and manage your expectations, especially when you have a deadline looming for that crucial loan application or financial aid submission.
Yeah, it truly demystifies the administrative burden. Knowing roughly how long it should take gives you a clearer timeline.
Yeah, but what happens if that 10 business days, maybe even 3 weeks, passes and nothing shows up in your mailbox?
Right, the waiting game anxiety.
Yeah. Or what if you did make a mistake on the form, maybe missed that checkbox, and it gets rejected? How should listeners troubleshoot these common issues?
That's an excellent and very practical question because despite our best efforts, things can sometimes go awry.
For sure.
If you've waited past the typical processing and mailing time, say 3 weeks to be safe, and haven't received your transcript, your first step should probably be to call the IRS at that dedicated toll-free number for transcripts we mentioned earlier, 1-800-908-9946.
Call them up.
Yeah. They can often check the status of your request and tell you if it was processed, if it was rejected, or if there's some other kind of holdup.
Okay. And what if it was rejected?
Well, common reasons for rejection include that missed checkbox in the signature area.
The dreaded checkbox.
Indeed. Or sending the form to the wrong address, or maybe failing to sign it within that 120-day validity window.
Right.
If it was rejected, the IRS often sends a letter explaining why. So look out for that letter, review it carefully, correct whatever the error was, and then you'll have to resubmit the form.
Start over.
Pretty much. For example, if the rejection letter says your address on the form didn't match their records, you might need to file that form 8822, change of address, first wait for that to process, then resubmit your transcript request.
Oh, extra steps.
It might feel like extra steps, but ensuring your IRS records are perfectly aligned is really key to making these requests go smoothly.
Okay. Good advice. Anything else to keep in mind if things go wrong?
Yeah, another thing to remember, especially for those sensitive mortgage or financial aid applications, is that while the masked transcripts are now sent directly to you, the ultimate recipient, like the lender, still needs a secure way to verify that information if they don't just accept the copy you provide them.
Right, the IVES thing.
Exactly. If a third party insists on direct IRS confirmation, they need to be an IVES participant. So it's always wise to ask your lender or institution up front. How do you prefer to receive or verify my tax information?
Clarify their process beforehand.
Yes, to avoid delays later. If they're still expecting a third-party mailing directly from the IRS,
Yeah.
that's kind of a red flag that they might not be fully up to date with current IRS policy.
So you might need to educate them a bit.
Gently, perhaps, or at least clarify their process now that direct mailing isn't an option.
Okay, good tip. And once you do get the transcript, any final advice?
Yeah, once you receive your transcript, take a moment to actually understand what you're looking at.
Don't just hand it over.
Well, look at it first. For example, find your adjusted gross income, the AGI. That's often the crucial number for many applications.
Right.
This number tells a story about your taxable income. If your AGI on the transcript looks significantly different from what you remember or what's on your copy, it could indicate maybe an amended return was processed or an IRS adjustment was made that you weren't aware of.
Yeah.
And that might prompt you to request a tax account transcript or a record of account transcript for a fuller picture of your actual financial history with the IRS for that year.
So getting one transcript might lead you to realize you need a different one.
It could. Being able to interpret these documents, even just the basics, gives you an extra layer of control and understanding over your own financial narrative.
Control and understanding, that's powerful. Outro. Well, we've truly taken a comprehensive deep dive today into understanding IRS tax transcripts.
We really covered a lot of ground.
What they are, the different types available for various needs, and the crucial steps for obtaining them, especially focusing on that specific streamlined process using Form 4506 TEZ.
Yep. We've highlighted the swift digital pathways like the online tool and the phone option. We walked you through the precise details of filling out the paper form line by line.
Don't forget the checkbox.
Never forget the checkbox. We underline the critical importance of signatures and that strict 120-day validity rule.
Right.
And we explain how recent IRS security enhancements impact third-party access with that shift away from direct mailing.
Yeah.
All of this information is really designed to help you navigate this essential, sometimes intimidating financial process with more confidence and absolute clarity.
Definitely. For many people, I think tax records are just something that gets filed away and forgotten, tucked in a drawer for someday.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. But as we've explored today, they are truly vital documents. They underpin so many aspects of our financial lives, from securing a home loan to qualifying for essential financial aid. Understanding how to securely access and manage them isn't just good practice. It's really a fundamental form of financial empowerment.
It really is.
It's knowing your financial story, the official version.
That's well said. And in a world where official documentation is just paramount for so many aspects of life, from credit scores to legal standing,
Yeah.
understanding how to securely and accurately access your tax records isn't just about compliance or ticking a box for a lender. It's really about control.
Control over your own info.
Precisely. And this kind of raises an important question, maybe a final thought for listeners.
Okay.
What other seemingly mundane administrative processes in your life, when truly understood and maybe mastered? What else could unlock significant clarity or maybe even open new opportunities for you?
Interesting question.
Think about it. Once you demystify one complex process, like getting an IRS transcript, it often gives you the confidence to tackle the next one, right? Whether it's understanding your credit report in detail or navigating insurance claims or something else entirely.
Yeah, breaking down those bureaucratic walls.
Exactly. It's about taking control piece by piece.